Hello, my name is Roland from PMI JCM Realty Group, where we manage properties from an asset management perspective. Today, what I want to talk to you about are 6 red flags you might be ignoring during a tenant pre-screening process. I always say the best way to keep a bad tenant out is to not let them in. And your screening process has a lot to do with that. So what you really want to do is make sure that you're doing all that you can to get some good information about the prospect so that you know that you're putting a good tenant in your property. So today, what I want to talk to you about are 6 red flags that you need to look for to ensure that you're doing all your due diligence to make sure that you keep those bad tenants out of your property. Because once you get them in, it can take anywhere from 60 to anywhere from 30 to 60 days to get them out. And, it becomes a pain and a hassle that you don't want to deal with. And it's going to cost you time and money. And so what are some of the red flags that you need to look for? The first one is poor credit candidates. Now, we do know that everyone goes through bad times, and with the economic downturn of 2008 and COVID, there's some people that took a hit doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad tenants. But you need to make sure that you take a look and see how far back their bad credit extends. Are they over leveraged? Generally, we want people to make 3 times the rent. Are they able to pay their rent with the current debt load that they have? So you need to keep all of that in mind if they have additional assistance. And you may want to make sure that if they do have poor credit and you do decide to take them for whatever reason, that you get first month's rent, last month's rent. You also get double the security deposit, and you want to make sure that you start the eviction process early. And there are other tools, risk mitigation tools that you can put in place, but we can talk about that a little bit later. Next is a history of eviction. If someone has a history of being evicted, then don't expect them to change for you, right? And so I've had a prospect contact me and say, hey, I just recently had an eviction. And I'm like, well, then there's a good likelihood we're not going to be able to accept you. And they said, well, can we speak to the owner about it? And I said, no, because if the owner wanted to speak to you about it, they wouldn't have hired me. And so that may sound rude, cold, and callous, but it really isn't. This is a business. You have to take the emotions out of it, and you have to make decisions based on the information you have in front of you. So if someone has a history of eviction, if it was, 10, 20 years ago, you can't, make people suffer, for entire life for a mistake they made that long ago. But if it's something recent, you have to make sure that you understand the risk that you're putting your property in when you do that. Criminal records, this can be a third rail. You have to be very mindful of your screening process and how you are moving forward with applicants that have criminal record or not moving forward with applicants that have a criminal record. Of course, if it's someone that had, a minor incident as opposed to someone who had, you know, major felonies, you have to take that into account. In some cities and some states, you can't even ask them about a criminal record. So you have to take that. You have to be very diligent before you move forward. If something comes up on the application that is causing you concern from a criminal perspective. Application mistakes or complaints, sometimes applicants make mistakes on their application. Whenever my antenna starts going up on, because they didn't put something or they put something wrong, that makes me dig into that area a little bit deeper. And if they're able to justify that mistake or let me know what happened, then I'm able to work with them. If not, then, I'll move on. So, you have to look at everything when you are verifying someone's application. And so just make sure that you are looking into each one of those aspects so that you can verify that they are not doing something in a property that they're not supposed to, or dealing with some type of fraud or anything like that. Refusal or inability to provide references. I've had people try to use their family members as references. I typically don't take those because their family members sometimes will say anything for you. And sometimes they say whoever they put down in the reference is going to say good things about them anyway, so references don't really matter. But when you have a conversation with the people they put down as a reference, you can get a sense of who they are just by talking to that person. And it may not even be what they say about the person. It may be the person that they put down as a reference themselves, right? Because birds of a feather flock together, right? And so keep that in mind as well when you are looking for reviewing people's references. And number 6 is, are they overly agreeable or rush to move in? I think good tenants look early. Tenants are looking for properties 60, 90 days in advance, I think, are good tenants. 30 days is good too. But if someone's telling me they have to move tomorrow, that's always a red flag for me. And so I try not to deal with anyone that is in a rush to move in. I had a prospect come tour one of my properties. And it's like, I want to do business with you. I want to do business. I'm like, you don't even know me. I don't know why you think you want to do business with me, right? And so that was a red flag, and I told them, I said, hey, look, whether you want to do business for me or not, your application has to go through the system. If the system approves you, then we'll be doing business. If it doesn't, then we won't. And once they realize that you have a system that's going to be processing the application, meaning what they say really doesn't matter, it's what they put in the application that we can verify that matters, then they're a little less, they're a little less rushed because then they know like this is going through this is going through the grinder, and so they're not going to be able to talk their way into your property. Let me ask, what are some of the red flags that you've recognized in your tenant pre-screening process? Consider these as you look for new renters, and remember, PMI JCM Realty Group can help you develop, improve, and handle the pre-screening process for you. And we routinely explore the latest rental property tips and trends in the Tampa market. If this topic sparks your interest, come join our free webinar where we're going to show you how to streamline your rental property portfolio for maximum growth. We're going to talk about this. We're also going to talk about how to guarantee a rent even if the tenant doesn't pay, how to protect your property against the tenants, how to preserve the assets to make sure the tenants don't damage your property, and a whole lot more. I think just the fact that we can show you how to guarantee the rent if the tenant doesn't pay is enough for you to come take a look at this free webinar. Also, we have a free Facebook group that's available to you with like-minded individuals that can help answer any questions you have regarding property management services, give you tips and tricks. And of course, if you have any questions specific to your property, you can always contact me by putting a meeting on my calendar with the link in this article. You can also call me at 813-333-9617, and you can email me at rcharles@pmijcmrealty.com. Thank you and have a great day.